AI can be so useful in our businesses. Probably the first place to start is around content creation. That's where we use it the most in our practice. And it could be something simple, such as writing an email to a client. Rather than sitting there and doing it myself, I can go onto an AI platform, tell the AI what it is I'm trying to achieve, and within seconds, it's created a perfectly worded email that I just need to proof check and ping it off to the client. So it's such a time-saving device.
I'm a decent writer. I've written a couple of books, but I don't pretend to be perfect at anything. So taking any kind of letter that I've written or any kind of email, especially if it's a sensitive email or an important, really important letter that's going to go out to a lot of clients, and just bouncing it through AI and saying, hey, make this better. And you can literally do that. Just cut and paste, put it in and say, make this better. And it'll reiterate it just like that. And it's amazing how much I use it now on a daily basis just to make things better.
Also in terms of our marketing, so thinking about the content we're putting out in our blog posts, in our videos, it can write scripts for a webinar. If you're doing a webinar, it can create strategies. If you asked it to create a referral strategy for your business, it can do that for you and put out some really simple steps. I think we're only at the start of where AI is going at the moment, and it's already saving us in our practice a huge amount of time, because it's meaning that we can focus on the things that need a bit more thinking about, that need human intervention. Some people are concerned that perhaps AI is going to mean that they're not necessary anymore. I personally don't think that's an issue. I think people are always looking for financial advice. People want to work with people. They're looking for somebody that they know, like, and trust. And it's about having that emotional connection. AI doesn't do emotion. People are still going to want to talk to you. They're still going to want the advice. One of the things that you have to be really careful of when you're using AI is making sure that you've checked what's sending out, because AI does get things wrong. If it doesn't know it, it makes it up. So you've got to be really careful that what's going out is factually correct, particularly in our profession. Also that it's relevant, that it's right, and that it's appropriate. Now, it could be the spellings. So in the UK, AI will often use American spellings. So we have to go through and take all the Zs out of things to make it more relevant to our market. But you've got to take complete responsibility for every piece of communication that leaves your office. So make sure you have somebody there who is going to be accountable and making sure that what information is going out is right, it's relevant, and it's appropriate. You've got to be careful about what you're putting into AI, because some of the platforms aren't private. So if you're putting information in there, it can be shared globally. So don't put client-specific information into AI.
I don't think AI at this point in time is the best resource for counting on accuracy of a lot of really detailed information. I think AI is best used to try to figure out more about generalizations and feelings and sort of overall broad scope aspects that would be hard to argue against. But if you're looking for specific facts, I would just encourage you to fact check anything specifically that AI might put out. And it is really critical with confidentiality and our client information. We have to maintain that. So don't go putting personal sensitive client information into AI. Anything you put into AI, you should be prepared to share with the rest of the world. But if you're trying to keep things about what you're doing private, there's a reason why transparency is such a huge theme. I think that theme is only going to get more and more intense in the future.
You can pay for platforms where they are a bit more secure, but I'd still be really careful and make sure you're complying with the rules of wherever you live. First thing I would do is just ask it a question. Ask it to write you a recipe to make bread or something like that. Just test its capabilities, and then look at the content that's coming out and see how useful that is. You can then start to be a bit more strategic. So if you're using a paid-for version of ChatGPT, for example, you can actually give it parameters. It can get to know you. So I've told our bot who I am, what our business does, who we're looking to serve. And so when it creates content for us, it's doing it specifically for our business in my tone of voice and using the language that I use. So it's really clever.
When I think about what's going on with AI right now, it is moving so fast and changing so quickly. Fortunately, I was an early adopter in terms of playing around with it. And now, a year and a half in, I would say the best thing that anybody can do to get started is don't wait. You got to start playing with something with the artificial intelligence. I often use the analogy when I think about AI of musical instruments. Imagine that as a financial advisor or insurance professional, there was only one type of music that existed, and it was singing, people singing, right? And there were no musical instruments at all. And then AI is all of a sudden like the invention and introduction of a ton of different musical instruments, and they're changing all the time. So it doesn't matter whether you're great at the flute or you're great at the guitar or you're great at the tuba, but you need to pick up some amount of AI and start playing around with it. Nobody's going to know everything about every kind of instrument, and the instruments are constantly changing. So you're never going to be an expert in AI. If you think you're going to compete with all of those instruments just by singing, you're going to be left behind. With AI, I've used it a variety of ways. I started with ChatGPT just asking a few questions, and I was amazed at the responses that I was able to get very, very quickly. Now I use ChatGPT regularly for lots of different things, everything from asking it to give me good suggestions of podcast topics, or what are some of the top concerns that consumers have. I think you can really learn more about whatever demographic or area you're interested in researching by having conversations essentially with the AI to learn more about what it is that your clients want or the clients that you want to have want.